Hi, good evening everyone, or afternoon, or whatever time you're watching this video. I have taken that shock absorber to Maxton Engineering today. I got there around about 10 o'clock this morning. I explained what happened, that I had to actually adjust the reservoir to be in the correct position, and the bolt was a bit too loose, a bit too far with the bolt, and we had oil and gas go everywhere. He was really helpful. He said he will have it done today, so I will be picking it up tomorrow, and there is no cost to it neither. So he was more than happy to help. Very good aftercare with them, really, even though the shock hasn't been on the bike. It's because obviously that fault was due to myself, really. He said you can slightly loosen them, but if you do go too far, they do come out. And as I said to him, it wouldn't fit underneath, partly because I'd probably say that to them, they're probably thinking, right, yeah, okay, you did have to adjust it. So that was the case of that. So hopefully I'll be picking that up tomorrow. So this shock absorber is loose. I'm going to leave it loose until I change the other one. Because I've got it on a paddock stand, I will have to make sure that the strap is on it still to lift it up, to take the weight off it. Because if you just take a shock absorber off while it's just on a paddock stand, back end of the bike, which is here, back end of the bike will drop to the swing arm. So you need to keep that up one way or another. What a lot of people do, they can, same thing as what I did before. You can see there the bolt in the, trying to get a bit closer, bolt in one of the swing arm, one of the foot peg bolt holes, and I put axle stand either side. You have to be careful with your paintwork when you do that. Which I had it on before. At the moment this is just on a rear paddock stand. I do have the straps still on, but very loosely, and it's strapped at the front end. What I'm hoping to be doing today, I've put the bearings, headstock bearings for the headstock in the freezer, and letting them get cool as possible, because it'll make it easier to go into the frame. But what I'll be doing, I'll be probably fitting I have a think here what I can do next. Yeah, well, I'm almost at the stage where I can put the downpipes on, so I'll be moving this out of the way, so I'll winch the front end a bit higher. I'd say move the trolley out of the way, because the engine is actually bolted in now, except for one engine mount on the other side. Now the other engine mount, I can put the top two bolts in, but I can't put the bottom one in yet, because I have electronic side stands. It's an electric motor that has come from a car, you know, with two cables off it, which used to operate the window mechanism. But this time, what it's doing is it's operating the side stands up and down. But that is actually bolted to that engine bolt. So it's an extra long bolt that goes through the motor with spacers and brackets here and there into the engine frame mount, and then into the engine. And it's bolted in. So I will be leaving that to the last minute. But I do have the two main engine bolts in, and the front one on the side on, which is more than enough to hold that engine in, as it is static. So obviously I've moved this out of the way. I can put the downpipes in. There's two grommets here which I've put in. I'm trying to see if I can get one out just to show you. Now they're quite tight in. And the large grommets with the metal plates either side. That is actually one of the bracketry to hold your exhaust on this side, because the exhaust pipes come underneath here and one comes out this side and one just splits to come out the other side on the 14. Now I'm not using full exhaust cans on this, because I needed to lower the rear foot pegs for my wife to get on, because she had very arthritic knees and couldn't get on the foot pegs at the original height. And to lower them, I needed to remove the big huge cans, not the standard roll cans you see. I did add the aquapobic system, the performance kit that you got with these. So I've gone for something American and very short and quite throaty, so it's quite nice to hear as well. I could also put the rear wheel in and that. I want to do the headstock bearings on this today, and then get the yokes in and the front forks in, and possibly the front wheel on. That's the plan. In what order I'll be doing it, I'm not too sure yet. I will plan that as I go along, and also other things I will spot as I go along. Like I still have to put the VIN plate on, the VIN plate on, which is this side, so I don't want to be putting any air ducts on yet until I put VIN plates back on. I will be using stainless steel rivets for that. I don't want rust or anything. You got to be quite careful putting them on, because some people, when you sell a bike on, when you've done it this far, when they see anything like rivets or whatever that look a bit dodgy, then they might think that the bike has been stolen and they can be put on and all this and the other. So I'll carefully try to put them back on as it was original. I think that's it for now. I will get back to you when I've done more. Yeah, one note is a little more of a personal note is because I've been working in here quite regularly, I've got myself a pressure saw. So I am actually sitting in a computer chair at the moment. If I can show you, you can see my amputation is quite high up from there. So I'm sitting in like a computer chair which I can wheel around on. My wheelchair is in the background there, as you can see. Unfortunately, I don't like going to the wheelchair much, but I must need, and I need to continue on with this project. So I will get back to you shortly. I decided to do the headstock bearings first, because as I was strapping that up, it was a bit too wobbly around, and I thought, oh, by the time I try and knock them into the frame, it'll be too moving around. So I thought, right, I'll leave that on the engine on the weight. So anyway, this is the bottom of it. Now the bottom of that, oh sorry, wobbling again, was this first, was at the bottom, on the bottom of the shaft, and then the race, as we call it. Now I'm really surprised how easy this come off. Normally they are a pain in the rectum, but I suppose because the bike's not done many miles, it's probably done just under 2,000 miles, this bike, it's quite a low mileage one, is obviously not as seized in as what they can be. So what I'm going to do now is, the other ones are in the freezer, I'm going to put the bottom plate on first, which, as I say, I have new on everything. There's a new bottom plate in the packet there. Yeah, the other bearings weren't so bad, and really in theory you could have done away with not even changing them, but I thought while I'm there I'll change them. I can be a bit meticulous in that way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch off, and then I will get back to you when they've gone on and give you an idea of how easy or how hard they were going on. Right, we have now the sealers on, the bottom race is on, the bearings on, and I've greased it up a little bit. I will grease it up more as I put it in, and I put all the bolts back in that belong on the yoke itself. My next job is then to put the races in top and bottom of the bearings at the, as I call the business end, the frame end, and I will get them in, and then I will get back to you. I'll just quickly show you, if I can go to it, where I have to put these in. I should be able to get to it. Our camera's on. One goes at the underside there, pushes up, knocks upwards, because the bearing is the larger side of the race. The bearing as it comes out with two races and the bearing for the middle. The larger one goes in the frame, the smaller one goes on the shaft. You cannot put them the wrong way around, obviously, because one side's bigger than the other. And obviously the other one goes in the top there. So I'm going to try and knock the bottom one in first, because that's going to be the harder one. And then you see the nodule there? Those nodules are for when you want to get a large screwdriver or drift to knock them out. You can get, there's one on each, so there should be one on each side. Yeah, top and bottom. So you knock a bit one side, knock a bit the other side, and then they slowly knock out. They're not too bad getting off on these bikes. On some of the older bikes, they were quite difficult to knock out because they didn't have the nodule. Right, I'll catch you with a bit. Hi everyone. As you can see, I have the top yoke on. The front forks are up to just the top of the tatty part of the yoke. You probably would have to go a bit higher. The bottom yoke's on, obviously, as well. The bearings are at the moment quite tight, and at the moment I've left that loose so I can actually do some adjustments. I just want to see if we'll bed them in a bit, and I was just about to put the front wheel on. I've noticed my wheel bearings were rather shot at. When I was feeling them, yes, they look like they rotate round, but they are gritty, notchy and gritty, especially the other one. So I have removed them and I'm putting new ones in. Now to get them out, because you have a bearing either side and then you have an aluminium tube between the two, so when they're in, if you look from the aluminium tube on there, when they're in, you can't see, there's not much lip to grab onto them. So I managed to move the aluminium tube so it was just a bit like that, and then managed to get a long extension bar with a socket on the end to hammer them out. So what I'm about to do now, I've changed the bolts for the titanium blue ones. Well, a couple of notes here. To hold the discs on and to hold the calipers on, you must not use aluminium. Aluminium are not strong enough for brake parts. You can either use titanium, stainless steel, or genuine Kawasaki or Suzuki, whichever bike you're building. The reason for that is a lot of people will think that they want to use aluminium because they're lighter than stainless, and cheaper than titanium. But I certainly wouldn't put them on. They do have a tendency of breaking, and it is advised, if you're buying them from Pro Volt, it actually says on the packaging, aluminium is not to be used for brake parts like discs, calipers, anything like that, including I'm not sure if you can use them on banjo bolts because they're not actually dead tight. But yeah, well, certainly to bolt the calipers up and to bolt you see the discs there where it's showing now, and the caliper bolts there on these are actually blue titanium. You can use stainless as well, and I'm also going to use titanium pinch bolts for the bottom yoke and the top yoke. The blue one that's in the top yoke at the moment was in it when it was painted, so it's blue. So that is one of the Kawasaki ones left in at the moment until I get my titanium ones through. So I'm going to put these wheel bearings on and the seals, and make sure I found and had them before I started stripping them. And because I carry a lot of wheel bearings for drag racing and that, because sometimes you can pretty much go through them quite quickly. I do have some down here. Oops, wrong package. Not the right package. Down here, they are bearings for, and they are what they call ceramic bearings. They have a less rolling resistance. So in drag racing, I try to use them if I can afford them, because they're not cheap. For a full set, you're talking about 300 or 400 quid, and that's just the states that I can think of. I'm trying to find a few engineering companies here that will do them at a cheaper rate, because as long as you give the bearing size, they should be able to make any bearing at any size, at any internal gap, outer, external, within diameter, everything. Right, I'm going to get off now and I'll fit these on, and hopefully I will get this wheel in and get the front wheel in the homemade wheel chock there strapped in, and we'll have the bike a bit more secure. Then I can get rid of the trolley underneath and start working a bit more on the bike a bit safer, because the way it's dangling at the moment, it does move a bit, as you can see. Basically the weight is only on a swing arm, which is almost falling off on one side, a strap there which is loose, it's not even pulling, and a strap at the front just holding it up at the moment, which is used by the clock and headlamp bracket that comes out there, which are held in by nuts and bolts. So I'm going to put this front wheel in and get the bike to be a bit more secure, probably put the front calipers on, which, as you see from the symbol there, I have Brembo monoblock M4 calipers on this. I wanted better braking than what Kawasaki provided. It's just the thing I have with brakes. Like my drag racing bike has PFM 6-piston radial caliper ones on, which a lot of people use around the Element TT races, actually racing the TT. So they are certainly been proven is the word. Right, I'll get off and I'll do these and I'll get back to you shortly. Hi all. As you see, front wheel is now on, front forks are on. As I say, I'd done the wheel bearings and they were running, feeling great, obviously brand new. So so I ended up having to lift it from the rafters to try and get the front wheel on. So I got the front wheel on, but then I also had to I put the calipers on, but I did have straps that were on that were a bracket was all bolted to the bolts here. You see this strap? And these straps were for drag racing. What you do is you strap the front end down as hard as you can, and it stops the springs in the forks from trying to make the front wheel lift to wheelie. So as I say, I put that on. It was a bit finicky. I finished with tonight. I've also put the colours for the exhaust on. Now, because I'm running a full titanium system, the exhaust, like this one, I'll show you, basically just slot in, and then you have two springs and pull it in, and that's how they come off. You take them off pretty much without unbolting, which makes it easier so you can bolt them up as tight as you can, so you don't have a backed up bolt, because when you're trying to bolt them up with the exhaust, it makes it a bit difficult. As you can see, it looks like there was one below in there at one point. Now, they have round gaskets in these, round little copper gaskets, similar to these ones in that packet, but they're from a ZX12, they're slightly bigger actually. Now, I found the best way I found of keeping them in there, while you're trying to put that in, because the centrepiece there on the collar is loose as well, this bit's loose as well, then you've got the gasket to put in as well, and then you've got to try and get the nuts on. So what I do is I put a bit of LM2 wheel bearing grease on the copper of the gasket, and stick it up into the head, and it will stay there until you have chance to bolt them up. I even had a chance to go and search for parts and all that before it, you know, it wasn't budging. So and then when you run the bike, the exhaust temperatures will end up just burning the grease off. It doesn't harm anything because it's on the exhaust side of things. I've got to fit that water pipe on from there. You can see from that pipe there down to the oil cooler. That is the, which side is it? That is the cold side going in, cold water side going into the oil cooler to cool the oil, and then the hot side comes back out to the bottom of the radiator, and then the cold comes back in again. Yeah, so I've got to get the downpipes on hopefully tomorrow, and I will, let's say, get the downpipes on tomorrow, get that water pipe on if I can find it. I've been looking for it but I can't find it, and then I realise it's quite late at the moment, so I'm just packing in for the night and so on. But you see this bike, as you look back as far as I can get, right? So obviously I'm on a wheelchair sort of thing tonight. You can see the way Kawasaki have designed to put that frame over the top of the engine. Now what they wanted to do is to make the bike narrow and keeping the weight 50-50 on the wheels. This Gen 2 is 50-50. As you see, the rear subframe is bolted quite low down in the frame. It goes up. The reason for that is because the frame goes over the top of the engine. The top part of the tank that's there is very, very narrow, and then it comes down and you actually sit on the tank berth. So obviously that raises your seat height. And then what they've done, they've moved the battery, which is normally underneath one of the under trays somewhere, into the frame, which is central again, 50-50 again. So you've got like the heavy parts, gearbox, crank, parts of most of the engine, battery, which is normally heavy unless you have a lithium, frame, majority of the frame, and the heavy parts of that frame, all central to the bike. Yeah. The only other heavy things you've got is the wheels is obviously heavy. Front forks can be quite heavy, but even the rear shock is pretty central. And then you've got the tailpiece comes up there. Obviously if you put panniers on, which I will be doing this, I'll have a top box on there and I'll have soft side panniers, but they call them soft hard panniers. So they're not actually totally like throw-overs. That will add a bit of weight on the rear end, of course, but the bike as it will stand on the scales once built is normally 50-50. And that is why Kawasaki designed it, and plus it makes the bike narrow rather than quite wide, because of normally big CC engines or vehicle bikes are quite wide, but this one is quite narrow, and so is the ZX12. I think is narrower again because it's a smaller CC. So I'm going to get off for the night because I am rubbing my eyes and I'm rather tired, and I will get back on it again tomorrow. I do have a hospital pre-op tomorrow, you know, as I say, for that operation I've got in December. I have a pre-op tomorrow, so I've got to go to the hospital for that. Go pick up the Maxton shock, so I'll probably fit that tomorrow as well. And then a few other bit of running around, you know, private life running around stuff. And then back onto working on the bike. As I say, it's taking shape. For somebody who's pretty much gets worn out very easy, got a lot of problems going on. Like I do have chest problems as well, which means when I sleep, I actually almost feel like I'm drowning in my lungs. My wife has to wake me up when I gurgle too much, and then coughing up a lot of gunk in that. But that's my right lung just quite shot at really. An amputee as well. Lots of other arthritis pains and that. And I still try and get in the garage and build something like this. So I'm going to sign off now, and I'll catch up with you again shortly.